Okay, we're recording now. Hey everyone, this is David Gomez with the Latino Business Speaking Bureau, bringing you a speaker highlight for the Hispanic Heritage Month series 31 by 31. Today I have the honor of introducing Rosario Marin. Rosario, how are you doing?
I am delighted to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. And I'm really excited because Rosario is a former U.S. treasurer, and you're also the founder of Marin and Marin LLC. So it's just very exciting to see your background and all the things that you've done. You've worked with senators, is that correct? Or governors?
Governors.
Yes.
So, two governors.
Yeah, so your experience is very inspiring to a lot of people. So one of the things that I want to do is I just want to ask you to share a little bit about your background so that our viewers can get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay. Well, thank you, David. I'm delighted. I'm delighted to somehow, if I can share my experience and get other people to see what is possible in this great United States that we live in, then that's always my privilege. My story is the story of millions and millions of immigrants that come to this country with absolutely nothing. I didn't speak English. I came like millions of people. I came because my parents didn't have enough money to feed us. If my dad had not come to the United States, probably the most education I would have had would have been junior high. In Mexico, it's called la secundaria. But he came. He was here for 2 years. The company that he worked for at that time had the ability to bring him legally. And then 2 years later, the same company went back to Mexico and they fill out the paperwork so we could be granted green card. I was 14 years old and I didn't want to come to this country. I didn't speak the language, my friends, I was going to lose my friends, my family, mi abuelita. And I did not want to come. And on top of that, what about my quinceañera, right? Like I was going to be missing that. So I pleaded with my mom not to bring me, but let's come to the United States. Little did I know, David, what would be in store for me. I went to school, graduated from high school with honors. I was in the top 20 students of the high school, 460 students that graduated, something like that. And then it was time to go to work because quite frankly, there was 6 of us, 6 children, my mom and dad. And there was a baby, my little sister that was born here. My mom wanted to stay home and take care of her, so I had to work. And it was okay. But I also wanted to better myself. So as I went to work full time, I went to East LA Community College at night. And it took me 4 years to get my 2-year degree. And then I knew it wasn't enough. I didn't even attend the graduation ceremony from East LA Community College because I knew it wasn't enough. So I went to Cal State LA. And it took me another 3 years to get my degree. Now, let me tell you, David, nobody gave me a scholarship. The government didn't give me a grant. I didn't get a loan. My parents couldn't pay for it. I paid for it. I would work and I would give my money to my mom. And then when I had to pay for my units, I would say, Mom, I now have to pay for my units, so no money for you today. And that's how I did it. And when I graduated from Cal State LA, I didn't even attend the graduation because it wasn't enough. I wanted to get my master's degree. And life has interesting things. I was already married. My first child was born with Down syndrome, and everything that I had worked for came crumbling down. So I stopped my work at bank. I was working for City National Bank, where I had started as the assistant to the receptionist. And in 6 years, I was going to be named assistant vice president for the bank. I stopped. I stopped my MBA. We sold our house so that I could take care of my son. And life has a way of putting you exactly where you need to be and where you should be. So I dedicated myself to my son and people like him. and created a support group for Latino families that had children with Down syndrome. And that took me to Sacramento, where when Governor Pete Wilson was elected, I was asked to be the Chief of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Developmental Services. And then I served as administration for 7 years. But prior to finishing that administration, I was elected to the City Council in Huntington Park, my city, my lovely city. And when I was elected and reelected, I met this wonderful guy who was governor of Texas and was going to be running for president of the United States. I worked in his campaign, became a national spokesperson for him. And when he got elected, he asked me to be treasurer of the United States. It's incredible.
That is incredible. That's so encouraging, because I know a lot of people struggle with life events, and they always seem to be, pushing you one way or another, but you persevere and you did something amazing. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. And go ahead.
Well, you know what today, my son now is 35 years old. He'll be 35. Today, I know that things happen exactly as they should. And no matter how difficult things may seem at one point, my mother gave me the most beautiful gift, the gift of faith. That faith that says no matter how dark and long the night is, God will give you a new day. And with it, there will be a new sun, and you will shine again. And so today I know that happens. Of course, when you are going through a very difficult time, you don't see it. You're just in the middle of this nightmare, of this night that is long and deep and hard and dark. But believe me, there will be a new day, and we will all shine.
Yeah, that's very, very encouraging. Did you have anyone that I know you mentioned your mom, but so as you're pursuing your career, and you mentioned you had to like a lot of things crumble down, was there anyone that helped you and maybe propel you to continue going even when things were hard?
Yes, I was very lucky. I've had, God has given me so many people He put along my path that were there to sustain me, to hold me, to strengthen me. And it's not just the mentors, but family members, my parents. I would hear the voice of my grandmother telling me exactly some of the things that really helped me push through. I had an incredible amount of people, professional people, that I would seek their advice. And they would gladly and so graciously would give me their advice. I think it's very important to seek help. And I tell everybody, the most important 3 words in my vocabulary is, I need help. Mm-hmm. Will you help me? And people are just wonderful in their generosity. They would help me. They will tell me, suggest paths, suggest questions that I would need answers to. And that has been amazing. I look up to a lot of people. One of the people that I look up the most, who's already passed on, and I've always said that since I met her 35 years ago, was Eunice Kennedy Shriver, the founder of Special Olympics. She provided so much wisdom and support and help. Life, like I said, there are so many turns in my own life. I was given an award, the Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Prize, by her family, and Senator Kennedy. When I had met her 10 years before, so this is going to be like 25 years ago that I was given that award. So I looked up to her. She was a wonderful mentor and a wonderful woman that I aspired. One day I said, man, if I can do 10% of what that woman did, my life would be worthwhile, right? But yes, many people, and actually, you know, it's interesting. Many of the people that have provided me with the opportunities
Mhm.
were white men. They just were not angry. They
Right.
might have been but not angry. They actually, uh, you know, people talk about the angry white man, all white men. I have never, uh, I've never seen that. Just the opposite. For me, it has been this old white people that provided me the support, the help, the guidance, and the opportunities.
Yeah.
Be where I where I've been.
That's amazing. And I mean, it's an encouraging thing also, you know, to receive so much support, especially on an area of life that is hard. You know, I have a daughter who has cerebral palsy, so it's something that is very important when people reach out and offer support.
Yes. Well, you know, I founded it's called Fuerza now. At that point, when we created it, was Padres de Personas con Síndrome Down.
Hmm.
But then, you know, there were so many people, many Latino families that didn't speak English. That says, my son doesn't have Down syndrome, he has cerebral palsy, he has autism. Can I come to your group? You know, can you guide me? And of course. So we changed it to Fuerza, which means Familias Unidas en respuesta al síndrome Down y otras alteraciones.
Hmm.
So we created that because we need support. We
Right.
need to be able to hold hands, and especially those of us that have already walked down that path, to be there when the diagnosis is given, you know, when you feel like your whole world is coming down and you're so frightened for the future of your family, your child, yourself, you know. So we created that support group to Latino families because I really felt that uh, I can get the services for my son. I speak English. I'm a professional. I'm a banker. I have this thing in my mind. I can get whatever my son needs. What about those families that maybe they don't speak English? Maybe they're not even here legally. They're not here undocumented.
Right.
They're here undocumented. And so I said, you know, their children are as deserving of the services, and they're as entitled my son, you know, as my son is. So that's why we created the support group, and thankfully, and it's still there. It's still Fuerza, still running around. We're providing services to people, sometimes over the phone, sometimes we actually go and literally hold a hand. And it's for all families that have children with disabilities.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I know that it's a really encouraging thing for me, and I think that that might have um, put you in the right place, you know, to meet other people, because you seem like you started that and then started to move towards government. Um, so I don't know if you would like to share some, you know, something special from your time in government, whether, you know, working for governors or, you know, in the U.S. Treasury. We'd like to
Right.
hear something about that.
Sure. So I was very lucky when I was asked to serve with Governor Wilson. I said, excuse me, I'm a mother. I'm a banker. I know nothing about government. But I had been going to Sacramento. I had been lobbying on behalf of families that have children with disabilities. So I was asked to be the Chief of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Developmental Services. And that got me into government. I worked for Governor Wilson for 7 years in different positions. And I realized that I could do something. So I was invited to run for city council. And I ran here in my city, my beautiful city of Huntington Park. Um, Obviously, I had worked for governor for 7 years. I knew a little bit about government. And I ran and then ran again for re-election. And it's interesting. This is something very emblematic of our community. even though I was a Republican, and even though people didn't really, especially the Hispanic community, were very, very angry at Governor Wilson because at that time he had supported Proposition 187, I opposed it. But nevertheless, I was a Republican that worked for him. When I ran for re-election, there were 9 people running for the seats. 3 of us were seeking re-election. 8 people were running against me because I was the only Republican. And interestingly enough, I was a top vote getter. I got more votes than the next person. And it was very interesting for me because people, they didn't care that I was a Republican, even though 8 people were doing all these nasty things against me and saying all these nasty things about me. People didn't care. They saw what I had done. They realized that I was a woman of my word, that they could trust that I said that I was going to do certain things, and I did them, in spite of the fact that there was not a lot of help.
Right.
But I did it. And I am very proud of my community. You know, people look at the individual. Yes, you know, of course, we're going to, and of course, this is a long time ago. Now we're very, very partisan, and, you know, parties get involved and things of that nature. But at the end of the day is the individual. If you are truthful, if you're straight with people, you tell them what you're going to do, and then you do it. Especially the Hispanic community, they're going to reward you with their votes. So I was very lucky and very pleased, and I'm very grateful because in Huntington Park, it's about 60 to 70% of our voters are Democrats. And they saw this Republican and they voted for her, and then they reelected her. So I'm very grateful.
That's good. And, you know, I think that's something that teaches to all of us, because we all do a little bit of politics every day. You know, we go to work and we have to prove, you know, give our persona. But what you mentioned, you know, it's, you know, if you're honest, you know, that's what carries through. Right. So that's very, very good. So let's move on a little bit to something that I think it's of interest to all of our audience members. Could you tell us, how do you keep your Hispanic heritage alive?
Pues mira, soy mexicana. That's me. That's with me all the time. I will tell you a couple of things. When I was the council member in the city of Huntington Park, we started, and I was elected in 1994. This is many years ago. We started the El Grito, the Mexican Independence celebration. We started that.
Okay.
We started El Día de los Reyes. You know, it's very typical of us.
Right.
Today, the city continues with those celebrations. But even at my home, we celebrate El Día de los Muertos. We celebrate La Rosca de Reyes. We celebrate Mexico's independence. We celebrate, of course, Cinco de Mayo. We celebrate las quinceañeras. I am such a proponent of quinceañeras because for me was everything. You know, I wanted that big party for myself. But, you know, for the Mexican community, celebration is a way of life. And we celebrate life with the bautizos, perdón, we celebrated with the Primera Comunión, we celebrated with the quinceañera, of course, the weddings, the biggest celebrations for the Mexican community. I get invited to the Mexican parades. If I can, and I'm not traveling, I am going to be in those parades that celebrate our culture, that celebrate who we are. Because I think it's so important. If we don't know where we came from, it's going to be very difficult to know where we're going. And so I am very proud of my Mexican heritage. I am very proud of everything that we stand for. We're honorable people, very decent, hard-working individuals. We believe in our family and we support each other. And so those are traits that, and of course, the strongest work ethic um, we have. We are people who believe in the dignity of work, and we are going to work. We're going to work harder than anybody else. Um, I, I tell people that the biggest gift that my dad gave me was the work ethic. First one in, last one out. Uh, that's just the way we are. He would say, if you're on time, you're late. You have to be there before the
Right.
time you're supposed to work. And so I believe in that. And I believe that keeping those things alive are important for my children and now for my grandchildren.
Yeah. That's powerful. That's powerful. I like what you said, that, we need to know where you've been, so that we know where we're going. And I think that a lot of Latinos try to, sometimes my family calls it become Americanized, and, don't really hold on to their culture. And I think that's something very commendable, from you, that you, it seems like your family still plays such a strong part on what you do. And I think that you harness that, and it helps you propel to the success that you've achieved.
Absolutely, David. I think it is so important for us to maintain who we are. And I tell people, we're very lucky because we have double the pleasure, double the fun, double the holidays, double the festivities. Because in my home, we celebrate absolutely Halloween. But the next day is El Día de los Muertos, right?
Yeah.
We celebrate both. We celebrate Thanksgiving. We are so grateful to be in this country. And just like the pilgrims, we are the new pilgrims, right?
Right.
We celebrate that. And I celebrate the 4th of July. You should see my home, still decorated, because we didn't do very much this time around. So my table's still set as for the 4th of July. We celebrate the Mexican independence, of course, but we celebrate every holiday that we have. We celebrate, and on top of that, we celebrate the ones from Mexico. So we have, mucha fiesta.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And that's something that I think I'm gonna start looking at it that way. You just have double the fun. So let me ask you also, what's next in your plate? What is, new projects that you're working on, or anything you want to share with us?
So I am a public speaker. I go around the world. Of course, with this pandemic, all of those speeches were canceled, or now they're in Zoom format. But today, I believe that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, providing hope, providing guidance. I serve on a number of nonprofit organizations that are promoting Latinos, that are promoting Latinas, that are working with the two countries, Mexico and the United States, to get more people interested in government, in good government, to strengthen the bonds between Mexico and the United States. I will do that till the day I die. And also, obviously, providing inspiration to um, thousands of people. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. In all my speeches, whether I'm talking about politics or the economy, uh, I what gives credence to me, for me to be speaking about that, is my background, is all the positions that I've held, is the billions of dollars that I've had under my belt, responsibility for. And so I can speak about all of that. But so far, there has been not one. In other words, in every single one of my speeches, I will have one person at least that comes to me and says, "Today you have changed my life."
That's awesome.
And that alone is so rewarding. I can give you examples of people that have come to me, and sometimes even later, and they say, "Your speech changed my life." And I'm thinking, that's where I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to keep doing that until nobody wants to hear me.
Well, I think we do want to hear that. That's good. And especially because, you know, I feel that connection with what you're saying, because like, you know, when we first got our both of our kids had some issues, so that's right there, that's home to me, you know. And to see that you're out there and you know, standing strong, that's very commendable and very inspiring, you know, to a lot of people.
Well, I certainly will hope so, David. And you know what? Uh, Today I know that things happen. It's an issue that even though in those initial moments or weeks or months or years, we may not see it, eventually we know, we find the reason. You know, oftentimes we ask the question, why did it happen? Why did this happen? Why? And I like to believe that what we really need to answer is what for.
Mhm.
So this happens so that I can do what? What is the reason that this was for? And as we go through our lives and we search for that answer, we find the reason. And when we find it, you know, we can only be grateful for the opportunity to serve our children, our city, the nation, um, via, you know, what our experiences have been. So I know sometimes it's difficult for people to understand that right now with this pandemic, it's like, why is this happening? We have millions of people desperate,
Yeah.
desperate. And yet I believe, I strongly believe that this happened for a reason, that we will be stronger because of this, that we will have learned not so much what we will stand for, but what we will not stand for. We will be stronger because we have learned so much about ourselves, so much, that how strong we are, how willing we are, how incredibly strong we are to see this through. And I believe in the end, it will serve a great purpose and we will be strong.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your encouraging words today. So, so I just want to wrap it up today. It's been an honor to speak with you, Rosario. And, you know, so to our audience members, we want to thank you, you know, for taking the time to listen to this interview. And Rosario, mucho gusto.
Encantada.
Muchas gracias. Okay, team, we will be moving on and sharing some more of these 31 by 31s throughout the whole month of September. So you'll stay tuned to our next interview. Bye, Rosario.
Bye.